This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Oil traded little changed on Monday, with investors weighing the market implications of upcoming US-Iran talks aimed at de-escalating tensions against a backdrop of expected OPEC+ supply increases. Brent crude futures edged up 3 cents to $67.78 a barrel by 0358 GMT. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was at $62.91 a barrel, up 2 cents. There will be no WTI settlement on Monday due to a U.S. holiday.
Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico on Sunday accused Ukraine of delaying the restart of a pipeline carrying Russian oil to Eastern Europe via Ukraine in order to pressure Hungary to drop its opposition to Ukraine's future membership of the European Union. Ukraine's foreign ministry said on Thursday that Russian oil destined for Eastern Europe and transients via the Ukrainian part of the Druzhba pipeline had been suspended since January 27 due to a Russian attack. Fico, who has maintained relations with Moscow after its invasion of Ukraine in 2022 and has blamed European partners of prolonging the war by supplying weapons to Kyiv, said oil supplies have become a political issue but did not provide any evidence to back up his claim.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's push to accelerate the rollout of rooftop solar power is falling short of targets despite heavy subsidies due to loan delays and limited support from state utilities, vendors and analysts say. The shortfalls represent the latest challenge to India's efforts to nearly double clean energy capacity to 500 gigawatts by 2030, and come as the government plans to suspend clean energy tendering targets amid a mounting backlog of awarded projects yet to be built. Challenges to plans to increase solar uptake may mean India maintains its reliance on coal-fired power.
Iran is pursuing a nuclear agreement with the U.S. that delivers economic benefits for both sides, an Iranian diplomat was reported as saying on Sunday, days before a second round of talks between Tehran and Washington. Iran and the U.S. renewed negotiations earlier this month to tackle their decades-long dispute over Tehran's nuclear program and avert a new military confrontation. The U.S. has dispatched a second aircraft carrier to the region and is preparing for the possibility of a sustained military campaign if the talks do not succeed, U.S. officials have told Reuters. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, speaking at a news conference in Bratislava, said President Donald Trump had made it clear that he would prefer diplomacy and a negotiated settlement, while making clear that may not happen. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. London copper eased on Monday, while aluminium extended losses for a third straight session as thin trade, with China out for a holiday, weighed on prices. The Shanghai Futures Exchange is closed for the Lunar New Year holiday that began on February 15 and trading will resume on February 24. The benchmark 3-month copper on the London Metal Exchange fell 0.5% to $12,810 a ton as of 0449 GMT. Having dropped to a 1-week low on Friday.
Gold prices dropped on Monday, pressured by thin trading volumes as US and China markets remained shut due to local public holidays, while some traders booked profits after last session's 2.5% jump. Spot gold fell 1.1% to $4,986.32 per ounce by 0550 GMT. U.S. gold futures for April delivery lost 0.8% to $5,005.60 per ounce. Gold has given back some of Friday's post-CPI gains today due to thinner trading conditions and a lack of fresh upside catalysts, said Tim Waterer, KCM chief analyst, referring to the U.S. consumer price inflation data. He also pointed to profit-taking on the day.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
Malaysian palm oil futures edged lower on Monday, as sluggish export data for early February and expectations of an accelerated harvest weighed on the market. The benchmark palm oil contract for May delivery on the Bursa Malaysia Derivatives Exchange fell 16 ringgit, or 0.4%, to 4,030 ringgit, $1,034.13, a metric ton by the midday break. The contract rose 0.22% in the previous session. Palm oil prices came under pressure on expectations of an early palm oil harvest in February ahead of Ramadan, as well as weaker palm oil export performance for the first half of February, said Anil Kumar Bagani, commodity research head at Sunvan Group, a Mumbai-based brokerage.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.